America's only Irish station, RadioIrish.com. That's what you're listening to as we draw your attention now to the front cover of this week's Irish Examiner newspaper and my interview with the great Irish actor Des Keogh, who is appearing on stage presently at the Irish Repertory Theatre here in New York City, starring alongside Fiana Toibin in My Scandalous Life by Thomas Kilroy, Oscar Wilde's gay lover Bosie. Bosie's Tale, the headline there. Yours truly talks to Des Keogh, who plays Lord Alfred Douglas in Thomas Kilroy's My Scandalous Life at the Irish Repertory Theatre. And you can read all about it there inside this week's newspaper. Isn't that brilliant? Your own spanking digital copy of this week's Irish Examiner opens up when you click the Irish Examiner logo right here on the front page of RadioIrish.com. And you can click the Irish Examiner logo right here on the front page of RadioIrish.com and it'll open up a digital copy of this week's Irish Examiner newspaper. Isn't that brilliant? And it was great to have a chat with Des Keogh at the Irish Repertory Theatre. And by the way, that conversation is being broadcast momentarily here on RadioIrish.com, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget to pick up your copy of this week's Irish Examiner newspaper on your stands now, and you can visit the website there by clicking the Irish Examiner logo right here on the front page of RadioIrish.com. Too gay or not too gay? Des Keogh is Oscar's Bosie at the Irish Repertory Theatre, reads the interview there. And don't forget to pick up your copy of this week's Irish Examiner newspaper on your newsstands now. And visit the Irish Examiner newspaper online by clicking the Irish Examiner logo right here on the front page of RadioIrish.com. Right, let's get on with it now. America's only Irish station, RadioIrish.com. An old, familiar liveliness in my step down West 22nd Street between 6th and 7th Avenues followed my 90 minutes of being entirely spellbound at New York's Irish Repertory Theatre by the hypnotic Irish actor Des Keogh, whose mesmerizing performance on stage of Lord Alfred Douglas, aka Oscar Wilde's gay lover Bosie, is drawing the crowds out in droves and packing the house with a drenching of wet tea and a doily-draped tray of delightfully specific buns. My Scandalous Life, written by Thomas Kilroy and directed by John Going, is enjoying its world premiere at the Irish Repertory Theatre here in New York and sees the mercurial Des Keogh team up with a frothy, feisty Fiana Toibin, daughter of legendary Irish actor Neil Toibin, who plays a flustered, red-haired, portly Irish maid with dizzying stamina and an enormous stage presence. Unseen upstairs behind two large parlour doors, Olive, wife of Lord Douglas, is dying. Later in the timeline of the play, we are introduced through clever sound and reference to a mentally delirious Raymond, Bosie's only son, whose spasmodic pangs are heard hurling from the boudoir in shockwaves when least expected. Here's a gem of a play, as entertaining as it is insightful, as hilarious as it is heartbreaking, and all so skillfully performed by two of Ireland's most masterful actors. Des Keogh brings us a timeless Lord Alfred Douglas, with jaw-dropping skill and precision, whilst Fiana Toibin's rollicking Irish maid delivers a punch right to the gut of the stage. And sure, why not? On stage, Oscar Wilde's lover Bosie is telling the story not like it was, but like it actually is, as he recollects in real time and in clockmaker's detail the love affair of the century, with no holes barred. And sure, who needs Queensberry rules anyway when you're dealing with an old queen herself? Besides, after well over a century now, the then scandalous love affair between Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas is still raising the rafters and feeding the whisperers aplenty. You mean there is such a thing as a gay Irishman? Shocking stuff altogether. Quickly, pull those drapes and get down on your knees for forgiveness. As we sit, sipping refreshments in his dressing room at the Irish Rep after the performance, I open our conversation by suggesting to the renowned actor Des Keogh that his role as Lord Alfred Douglas in My Scandalous Life is a rather complicated one, really, isn't it?
It is, and it's one that I think people know very little about. People know probably, certainly people who are interested in Oscar Wilde, they know about Bosie, and they know about the Oscar Wilde's affair with Bosie when Bosie was a very young man. But they don't know that after Oscar Wilde died, Bosie went on to get married, to have a son, and to, in fact, live to the age of 75. When this play takes place, Bosie is, in fact, a year before his death, 74, Lord Alfred. So it is an interesting role, and I think it's one that people are becoming interested in, to find out that he had, if you like, a life after Oscar Wilde. And also another thing that they don't know about him was that he was a very highly regarded poet in his own right. He has written sonnets that are very, very highly regarded in the English literature. So that all in all, he's an interesting character, I think.
Well, talk to me a bit now, Des, about what Bosie is actually going through in My Scandalous Life.
Well, he's going through, early on in the play, his wife, who he hasn't been living with for a very long time. They didn't live together for very long, in fact. They just found that they just weren't able to live together. I think that Bosie renounced his homosexuality completely, and in fact, in some ways became very homophobic in his outlook. And it's an interesting fact too that his wife, the lady that he married, Olive Custance was her name, that she also had, if you like, sexual ambiguity, and she had a couple of affairs with women. So that there was this interesting parallel there between the two characters. But in the play, he is going through a very bad time because Olive, with whom he has kept in touch, and he has loved her, even though they haven't lived together for many years. But she is dying, and his main concern is his son. His son has turned out to be very mentally unstable, has been in a mental institution, in fact, for many years. When the play takes place, Lord Alfred Bosie is 40. His son is 42 years of age, and this is his main concern, and he is absolutely he has.
He's tormented, isn't he, really?
Now, that's the word I was looking for, Sean. Tormented. Yeah, he's tormented by this, and whether or not this is in the genes, whether his son has picked up this mental instability from him, which is probably very likely because there was a great deal of mental instability in the Douglas family, and this becomes apparent too towards the end of the play.
Now, how is it working with director Jack Going?
Jack is a director with whom I've worked before. I knew very well. I've worked with him on a few plays. He is a meticulous director, Jack, and had a great feeling for this subject. In fact, he has directed a play before about Oscar Wilde, and I can't just think of the name of it now. But it was a play on the Oscar. He's very much he knows very much about Oscar. Didn't know very much about Lord Alfred, but of course read up a great deal about, as I did before we did this play. I worked with Jack on a lovely play called The Best of Friends, an English play, with a lot of people listening will probably remember Pauline Flanagan, a lovely Irish actress. Pauline was in that, and I've done a couple of. So when I read this play, when I became interested in this play, My Scandalous Life, I showed it to Jack. I was working down in Alney doing a play by Hugh Leonard, and I showed it to Jack Going, and he, at first sight, at first reading, loved the play and said he would love to direct me in it. So it was he, in fact, who approached the Irish Rep and said that he would love to do this play with me. So that's how it came about. And so we've had a good time working on it, and I think it has worked out pretty well.
Now, what was it, Des, about Oscar Wilde's fiery love affair with Bosie that has society and the world still so fascinated, do you think, Des?
Well, it was because of the attitude of the time, really, because, I mean, homosexuality was illegal in England at the time. It was a criminal offence. And this is why. But of course, Wilde was such a flamboyant character, and Wilde got away with a lot because of his genius and because of his incredible talent at writing, and also his colourful lifestyle. But it was Bosie's, Lord Alfred's father, who was the Marquis of Queensberry, was absolutely devastated by the fact that his son was associated with Oscar Wilde and was being seen around London with him. And it was who put the cat among the pigeons, if we can put it like that, and accused Wilde of being a sodomite, which was the word that was used at that time. And then, as a lot of people know, there was this cause célèbre when Wilde was up in court and was sent to prison for 2 years for these homosexual activities, and of course that had a devastating effect on him at that time, because he suffered very much in prison, and when he came out he was never the same man again, never really recovered from that, died at a very, very early age, died in his early 40s. So people are fascinated by that, and they're fascinated because of the genius that Wilde, of course, was Irish. He was an Irishman from Dublin, and people were fascinated by this because of the fact that he was the first, if you like, famous homosexual who was sent to prison for his activities.
Now, what's it like to be back here at the Irish Rep in New York and playing such a controversial character to boot? I mean, you've been here before.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love the Irish Rep. I've been coming here. I've done shows here for many years. This is a very, very different role. Well, it's completely different to things I've previously done at the Irish Rep. The last, in fact, few shows I've done here have been in works by John B. Keane. 2 of them one-man shows, which were directed by Charlotte Moore, who is the artistic director here. The first one that I did of those, which was, I think, back in the one-man show called The Love Hungry Farmer, was a great success for me, I have to say, and it went on to Edinburgh Festival, and I've been all over the world with it. I've been to Australia with it, and I've been to played it in London and Edinburgh Festival. It was great. So, but John B. Keane is a very different kettle of fish, a very brilliant writer, I think, and a great comedy writer, and I've loved doing his material. But this one, in which I'm playing, people at the Irish Rep haven't seen me doing this sort of role at all before. This is this terribly sophisticated English aristocrat, which is fun to do, and I just I like doing a variety of things.
After My Scandalous Life, what's next for you, Des? Where can we see you perform?
After this, I go back to Ireland, and I'm doing a play which I did last summer at the Galway Arts Festival, a play by a young Irish writer, John McMahon, and it is again, a complete contrast. I play a 90-year-old Cavan farmer who spends the entire evening in a bath. It's a terrific comedy, actually, a great very, very. It was a huge success at the Galway Arts Festival last August. It was only on for 2 weeks, but it was a sellout. So we're touring it in Ireland now when I go back, and we're playing it in Dublin, and we're playing it around the country. So I'm looking forward to that. Another big contrast for me.
And what's it called?
It's called The Quare Land.
The Quare Land?
Yes. The Quare Land, yes.
It has been a great pleasure to see you perform and to have this wonderful chat with you. Thanks very much, Des, indeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean. It's been a pleasure.
The great Des Keogh, who can be seen now performing here at the Irish Repertory Theatre at 132 West 22nd Street in the heart of Chelsea, here in New York. My Scandalous Life. And for more information, go to www.irishrep.org or simply click the Irish Repertory Theatre logo right here on the front page of America's only Irish station, RadioIrish.com. So all bun nibbling aside, My Scandalous Life is a tour de force right in the heart of Chelsea. The play is being staged in cosy quarters downstairs at the W. Scott MacLucas Studio Theatre inside the Irish Rep, with a lavish set designed by Charlie Corcoran, authentic period costumes by David Tozer, creatively effective lighting by Michael O'Connor, intricate sound design by Zachary Williamson, and page-turning stage management by the gifted Michael Palmer. My Scandalous Life runs to March the 6th, 2011, so be advised to see it soon. The play also enjoys the distinction of receiving support from Culture Ireland as part of the brand new Irish Arts Initiative, Imagine Ireland, recently unveiled by Culture Ambassador for Ireland, the award-winning actor Gabriel Byrne. Showtimes running Wednesday through Saturday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday, Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Purchase your tickets right now at www.irishrep.org or call the Irish Repertory Theatre at 212-727-2737 and tune in to America's only Irish station, Radio Irish, for the announcements of Irish Repertory Theatre shows. Des Keogh there. What a great performance. One of those that you just simply have to see for yourselves. When do you get to see Des Keogh right in the heart of Chelsea? What a great night that was. And packed. Get your tickets now. It runs to March the 6th. 212-727-2737. My Scandalous Life. Starring Des Keogh and Fiana Toibin, the daughter of Neil Toibin, the great Irish actor. And both of them are absolutely fantastic in their separate roles. They rock the stage. So they do. The pair of them. America's only Irish station, RadioIrish.com. Right, honest to goodness. And a new liveliness now in the step. Huh?
Radio Irish.
Hi, this is Bob Gallico for Radio Irish with another set of police reports from my local paper. Police reported that a Boston man was arrested on Wednesday night at LF Stores on Newbury Street after he allegedly tried to leave the store with $639 worth of merchandise, including a pair of Star Wars underwear. Yes, unfortunately for the alleged thief, the force was with him. Police received a report at 10:04 p.m. of a man cutting tiles with a saw outside on Congress Street. Now, which statute of the Pilgrim Fathers does that violate? Using a saw to cut tiles? Cutting the tiles on Congress Street? Or perhaps cutting tiles with a saw on Congress Street after hours? An Edith Lane resident called police at 3:15 p.m. to say there was an opossum outside her home in the driveway. Police told her to call back if the animal doesn't leave. Well, then what? They send in a SWAT team? Police and firefighters helped out a woman who was stuck inside Maddie's car wash in Andover Street at 7:50 p.m. There were no reports on her condition. Clean springs to mind. A 54-year-old man was arrested at 4 p.m. and charged with 3 counts of shoplifting and being a common and notorious thief, following a report from Market Basket employees of a man continually stealing frozen lobster meat. Staff say they have video of the man stealing 18 cans of frozen lobster meat during 3 visits to the Trader's Way store. Well, notorious he may be, but common? I mean, you steal burgers, you're common. But I'd say nicking lobster puts you in the shoplifting elite. And finally, a man was arrested and charged with trespassing and breaking and entering with the intent to commit a felony at the Salem Oil and Grease Company. A police officer responded on a report of a man in a black hat, pants, and a sweatshirt breaking through a window. The man fitting the description was discovered at the front of the property. He admitted to breaking in to look for copper. He found one. For Radio Irish, I'm Bob Gallico.